Hi, this is Stacey Hines, and I'm a podcaster. And my podcast is called The Balanced Lady Boss. And this show has actually been around since 2018 when I actually started podcasting. And I am actually based in Kingston, Jamaica. Now, my podcast is all about supporting women in the space of their professional lives. I focus on three areas: boardroom, bedroom, and bliss. And I teach these women how to avoid the overwhelm, stress, and sickness that can be associated with burnout from your career. And it's something that I'm intimately aware of because as a breast cancer survivor and a clinical depression survivor and a divorce survivor, I'm acutely aware of what overworking and not taking care of yourself can cost. And so my podcast is all about helping other women to avoid the same hot mess that I got myself into. Now, where I was before I started working with Paul is I'd actually launched my podcast using a self-publishing, pretty straightforward platform. And I was recording on my phone. I hadn't gotten into all the equipment, etc. And I was doing just a monologue audio podcast. And I loved actually talking and doing all of the conversational impact elements, building out the content around tips and tools and resources that persons could use, similar to things that I would actually teach in my coaching program. Now, what ended up happening is that I had an idea for a second podcast that was focused on the men. And so I decided to invite my life partner to do that podcast with me. And he agreed. And so I thought, you know what? Let me get a coach this time around because we're starting from scratch and I would love to really get some professional support on how to make this a success. I really wanted my partner and I to do well. And since podcasting was entirely new to him, I thought definitely the way to go. So we went through that entire process with Paul and his team. In the interim, what was actually happening is that from my podcast, I was learning so many different ways that I could improve it. And so even though I joined the coaching for a new podcast, I ended up revamping my entire podcast and relaunching it with a whole new look and feel. I even got equipment, like I went out and I got my Zoom recorder and my mics and all of this stuff that Paul had, pulled together for us to use. And I must say that the quality of my podcast has gotten a lot better. My comfort level with doing interviews has gotten a lot better. How I approach the different types of things they communicate. So all around, in terms of just my level of confidence and expertise in the podcasting space, totally ramped up. And I think more than anything else, Paul's support throughout the process really makes you feel like, you can do this. And so I highly, highly recommend Paul's program. And I really believe that by using the different methodologies that he teaches, like the kaleidoscope, in particular for helping me with topics and titles, as well as the roadmap, building out that roadmap that we want to take our community on from the place they are through that transformation journey, has really just amplified the conversations that I have on the podcast and the value that I feel I'm adding to my community. So thank you so much, Paul. You're doing great work. In particular, as a Black woman in the space of, doing all things author, executive coach, and having tech as another stream, you've just helped me to amplify my voice in a way that I didn't necessarily know was possible. So I highly recommend your program, and I want to say thank you. I'm very grateful for the work that we've done so far, and I'm looking forward to working with you on future projects.